Everybody, welcome to the Dick and Carrie show. Oh, the naming.
Oh, yeah, you betcha there, Carrie. I'm excited as can be, don't you know?
Hey, you took all my Minnesota sayings. How are you, Dick? How you doing?
I'm doing good. How about you, Carrie?
I'm doing well. It's been a year, hasn't it?
2 years. Wasn't it?
It's been 2 years since I've seen you, but it's been a tough year.
Oh, right. Yeah, no kidding. Boy, it's so neat to see things kind of getting a little bit back to normal and having a real Grandma's Marathon with real runners at a real race with real spectators. It doesn't get much better than this. I know so many people are so excited for sure.
I know, and I like to run the 5K, the night before, but Ooh, I don't know if I'm going to defend my title this year. I have not been getting after it, Dick.
Now, that's your motto. Get after it, Carrie.
It is, but I haven't been. Oh, well, okay. But you know who has been getting after it? I got to just tell you, we've got some people here that know how to get after it. And one of them might be getting after something that you did back in the day when you won this whole dang thing. So I'm going to introduce our first guest. He is a 2:12:40 marathoner. You guys, I said 2:12:40. Okay, super fast. His wife is an elite runner. Her name is Katie. He's a data scientist, super smart, and he's a member of the Minnesota Distance Elite. So I want to welcome to the show our first guest, Tyler Germann. Welcome, Tyler.
Hey, guys. Thanks for having me.
How you doing?
Welcome to the Grandma's Marathon.
Yeah, excited.
Well, it's exciting that you're going to be running, and it'd be awesome. Maybe the first Minnesotan to win in a long, long time, perhaps.
The last, was it you? Or have there been some winners in between?
If it was, that was 39 years ago, 1982.
That was you, Dick.
You weren't even a twinkle in your mom and dad's eye at that point.
I was not.
No, that was you. And I was wondering, Tyler, you're coming into this event as one of the favorites. And I was wondering if you're thinking that way, like, I want to win this thing. I want to go and run. You just ran your PR in December, so you're clearly, at the top of your game right now.
Yeah, no, training's been going really well. There hasn't been a lot of opportunities to showcase that in the last year, but things have really been coming around. I've run Grandma's 4 times before, 3 times in the full, once in the half, and the best I've done is 4th in the half and 9th in the full. So it is kind of a far reach to be talking about winning, but the way things have been going, it's definitely on my mind and a goal of mine. And who knows if it'll come through or not, but that's what I'm shooting for.
Mm-hmm. Dick, do you have any advice for this guy who, is clearly running so fast, times like you ran? And he's working full time. He's training full time. He's been through a lot, obviously, like we all have this last year. But being a professional athlete is a little different when there's not races. There's not a lot going on. So what kind of advice would you give him?
Yeah, that is a tough part of the deal, especially, you train. And for me, I raced a lot. And I'm sure most athletes like Tyler want to, race more than they were able to do this past year. But the one thing going in that is going to be at your advantage. You've run the course now a number of times. That can be a huge advantage, just knowing how those tangents work and where some of the little nuances are on the course, like some of the rolling hills that you have and things like that, where you can, if you decide to make a surge where you think, okay, I'm going to make a surge because I know just up ahead there's a corner and where you can't see runners very far from behind in front of you. So, you can kind of mentally break them like that. So it's going to be exciting for Tyler and for me to be up in that lead vehicle, doing the play-by-play and hopefully cheering for a Minnesota guy.
Yeah, hopefully. I didn't know you'd be up in that vehicle. It's going to be a little something extra.
Tyler, listen, it's been 30 some years since I could run with people like yourself. But so I get to be in that lead vehicle. And I tell you what, obviously I can't run with you young guys anymore, but I know I can still remember what it was like physically and mentally of being in that position. So it's kind of fun to talk about what I think you might be thinking about, what you're looking to do. So no, I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah, well, that's cool. Yeah. You don't get that from every announcer.
Here's the problem though, is I'm kind of a homer. So Tyler, if you're out there like right up there in the lead or got the lead, you might hear me screaming from the back of the media van, "Go Tyler, go!" So,
Dick, you're not supposed to cheer when you're in the media.
I know it, but I kind of forget that.
I do too, especially when it comes to like Tyler. Tyler, you just came off of running a pretty fast 5K. I saw your post. You're saying It felt good to get the wheels turning, but you ran right here in Minnesota. Mm-hmm. Talk about your training and what you're doing different this year that is, letting you set these faster times and seeing the best running that you've ever seen.
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of like, Dick, you alluded to it earlier, like there's less training opportunity or there's less racing opportunities, but it's a negative in a way that we don't get to race as much, but it also means that you put together huge training blocks of uninterrupted training where you're not tapering for races, you're not needing to recover from races. So with the time off from racing, it's kind of allowed like me to stack weeks and weeks and weeks of really high quality training back to back. And I think that consistency has led to a lot of big steps forward as far as fitness and what I'm able to do when the races do come back, which they are now. So I think that's a big part of it.
What's your favorite part of the course?
I like the checkpoint of when you turn off of the scenic highway onto like the actual neighborhood, because it's like you go from just you're in the middle of nowhere forever, and it's great. I mean, you can just grind along, but once you get into that, there's energy of people, and you start seeing things, and I think at that point it feels like the race is really it's go time, and like moves start to be made, and the energy of the crowd, and then it's just all the way into the city.
Would you agree, Dick?
Oh, absolutely. And that's a neat thing. It's like when you cross that Leicester River there and you start getting into town and the city limits and the crowds swell. And as you get closer and closer to downtown, the crowds get bigger and bigger. And I got a feeling this year, since there was no grandmas last year, that I think the crowds are going to be maybe as big as they've ever been, because people are going to want get out there and partying and cheering. And it's going to be an exciting day for all the runners out there and the spectators.
It is. I'm just starting to sweat thinking about it. And I know that Tyler, you've been, putting the work in, you do the mental work that you need to. Last question. We had some of our audience members write in, or our fans write in and ask some questions. So I got to know what you do the night before the race in Duluth. A lot of people want to know maybe where you eat or what you're doing when you're there. Are you out on the shoreline? What are you doing the night before?
Dinner, of course. What? Everyone goes to the
pasta,
right? The grandma's pasta feed. That's the only option.
I love it too. I eat there every night. Every time. Well, I eat there the early afternoon, I guess late afternoon, right before my 5K. So all
great.
you people,
Yeah.
Go eat your pasta and then run a hard 5K.
I don't think that's how you're supposed to carbo load.
I can't pass up that pasta. It's so good.
It is good.
Well, Tyler, good luck to you. We appreciate you taking the time.
Thanks so
You're going to
much.
have a great race regardless. But you know what? Have in the back of your mind, Dick Beardsley. He's the last guy that's won it.
Hey, go get him, Tyler. We wish you all the best.
Thanks, guys.
Dick, it's so much fun. I see Tyler and his wife, Katie, running by my house. They live right over in the Highland area like I do in St. Paul. And it's just really neat. They have such a nice relationship, but good people, but, fun to see a Minnesotan up there.
Oh, absolutely. It's, living in Minnesota all your life, Carrie and myself too, is people, we love our homers, man. And, we don't wish ill doings on other people, but man, we're a hometown team, and we want those local men and women to be right up in front and hopefully winning the race coming up.
We do. And our next guest is someone that has a lot of talent, and she was 4th in 2019 at the Grandma's Marathon. So I got to give her a proper introduction here. She's also a member of the Minnesota Distance Elite. She and her husband bought a new house here in the cities a couple years ago, I believe. She's a teacher, and get this, she's the second fastest Minnesotan that has run the Grandma's Marathon course. So we got some talent. I know. Dakotah, come on in here, Dakotah Lindwurm.
Hi, I didn't know that about being the second fastest to run. So thanks for the thanks for the knowledge.
I know, and I have heard, rumor has it, Tyler gave me a little soundbite that you had a killer workout today when we taped this. So I think that, you're ready. It sounds like maybe you'll take down that title of being the fastest Minnesotan ever on the Grandma's Marathon course.
Yeah, that would be awesome.
Well, you're coming off of a PR as well. You ran in December a PR of 2:30:38. So you're so close to breaking 2:30, Dakotah.
That was definitely the goal that day. I definitely blew up in the end there, but I'm hunting it down, and it's coming down at Grandma's for sure.
Dick, you have been in so many different races and been running a long time. You and I have been running a lot longer.
Long time.
Yes, than all of our guests here today. But what kind of advice would you give Dakotah, who, put it all out there? And believe me, if you've ever seen her race, she puts it all out there every time. But when she's going to go to a big race like Grandma's and has the opportunity to cross the finish line in first, what kind of tricks did you have to get through that final, last 5K or whatever it is?
Yeah. It was, being from Minnesota, and you're on that starting line, and you're in, the Grandma's Marathon, been around 45 years now. And you've got all this buildup and excitement. And what I always had to try to do is just calm myself down. And, when that gun goes off, all that adrenaline's going, and sometimes it's like, this happened to be at Boston in 82. It's like, I felt terrible the first few miles, and if something like that happens, Dakotah, you just got to say, look, I've done the work. I've been training hard. My training's been going great. And just, I always would tell myself, relax. Even when I was battling against somebody or I wasn't feeling real good, hitting a little bad spot, I just would tell myself, relax. I think about some of those hard training runs I did that I knew I was in good shape. And sometimes it's that physical part of it. Everybody talks about the physical part, but it's that mental part sometimes too, that we got to dig inside our brain and say, we're going to get through this. So I think you're going to do fine, Dakotah. And I'm excited for you. And we got some men and women Minnesotans that have it, like we were talking earlier, have a chance to come across that finish line, breaking the tape. And that's exciting.
Dakotah, what would that mean like? What would that mean to you if you crossed that finish line in first?
Oh, it'd be great. It's not, I try to keep my goals more orientated on myself and what I can control. Obviously, if one of my competitors has a great day, I can't control that. But I think when people think about running communities, they think about, Flagstaff or Boulder, but nobody really talks about anywhere in Minnesota, but they should. We've got a great running community. So I think to break that tape, and hopefully for Tyler to have already broken that tape, would be great for the state and for our community.
Dakotah, I got to ask you. So I watched that marathon project on television, and I think it was 4 loops or something. There was basically no spectators. So right there, mentally, knowing that you're running in circles with nobody really out there cheering you, that's got to excite you even more, so that you ran 2:30 in conditions like that. Yes, I know weather-wise it was great. It was flat, but man, you get to Grandma's, there'll be people cheering. I mean, that's got to be exciting to know that if I ran 2:30 with, nobody out there, now I'm going to have crowds and lots of other runners. That's got to kind of fire you up.
Yeah, definitely. I'm somebody who definitely plays off the crowd. I love, my dad's somebody who is there about every 5K. So I like to spot him out and pose for pictures. And like to smile at the crowd and get them excited. So I'm super excited to have that Minnesota backing on the course.
Dakotah,
Sweet.
what are you going to do different in this race? You were cruising it in 2019. I can remember I turned the corner because I was in the lead vehicle and I was trying to see you because you were closing so fast. So we had to get home for the win. And, you were picking people off. You were closing in on those gaps. What were you thinking in 2019?
In 2019, my biggest concern was getting a trials qualifier. And it would have been in 2018, I started CIM and dropped out. So those first probably 10 miles of grandma's in 2019, I was really focused on being relaxed. I wasn't going to blow up. I wasn't going to drop out. So I think about halfway was when I realized I was having too much fun and I had way too much energy. So that's when I started picking it up. But this time around, I'm not gonna let anything be in the tank at the end. I'm gonna run hard start to finish.
Yeah, Dick, I think of, you ran here years ago. Not that many years ago, but years ago.
40? 1981? That's 40 years ago.
I was 4. Just saying it. Wait. Yeah, I was 4. I had to do the math again. But Dakotah, you are in your prime. I mean, you are right here, just enjoying being a professional runner, but also you do some teaching. You and your husband have your dog. Like you just have, this fun life going on right now. But why do you think you run? And for all the people that are listening, running is not an easy sport. It's not any easier for you than it is for somebody that is running their first marathon. It's just different levels, right? You're just running a different pace. But why do you think you do it?
That's a really great question that I don't think I've asked myself a lot. For me, I love the day-to-day, getting out and being by myself most of the time, unless it's a workout, which I love my teammates. But I love just getting out and having a time to clear my head. And then racing's just a cherry on top to see what all that hard work and all that time has accomplished.
Mm-hmm. Dick, you and Dakotah kind of are two peas in a pod. She will go really, really early in the morning like you do.
Sweet. Like at 3:30? Like I go?
I'm more of a 6 a.m. girl, but I do love my quiet mornings.
That's early. And it's something special too. Especially this time of year when I get up, I mean, the sun isn't even up yet, but it's starting to get light up here in northern Minnesota. And you can just feel the world come alive, which is pretty cool.
Yeah, I love it.
Good for you. And you know what? What I was going to say too is that, I always did my hardest workouts in my morning session because 99.9% of the race I ran were in the morning. And so it kind of gets your body used to kind of getting out there and putting the throttle down a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you definitely wake up early for grandmas. So it's good that I'm ready for it.
Well, that leads me to my next question. We had a question from the fans and they asked what you eat for breakfast the morning of the race.
Great question. I stick to just one packet of brown sugar oatmeal. I do it about 2 to 3 hours before. And then I've got to have my coffee. There would be no getting me out of bed without coffee.
I do not like coffee.
What?
Ooh, I don't know how. You have 3 kids,
I don't
Garry.
either.
You need coffee.
I know. I definitely feel like I need coffee. What are you eating throughout then? Because if you don't have a ton of calories beforehand, what are you doing throughout the race? Are you staying up on your bottles every 5K? What do you do?
Yeah, I stick to my bottles every 5K. I do tailwind. And that way, hopefully I don't usually have a lot of stomach upset. Sometimes I do, but.
Mm-hmm. What's your favorite pre-race meal the night before?
I'm with Tyler. I'm at that spaghetti dinner. All you can eat. There's ice cream after. Why wouldn't you go there?
I hear ya. Well, good. Well, we are so excited for you, Dakotah. Do you know one of our favorite Minnesota runners is the last person to win the Duluth or Grandma's Marathon in Duluth? It's Janice Klecker. She's my dentist. Yes. So
I didn't know she was the last to win. Awesome. Well,
yep. So
I'm
think about
join
Janice
her
when
in
you're
that
out there.
category. Yeah.
Good company.
Will do.
That's right. Go get him, Dakotah.
Thank you.
Dick, wouldn't it be something else if Dakotah was the next person to win after Janice Klecker from Minnesota here?
Yeah, it really would be, Carrie. So it's been a long, long time. So it'd be great to get a new name, new face up there. But Janice, of course, she's a Minnesota favorite. That's for sure.
She and Barney Klecker. But Joe Klecker is racing this week at the Olympic trials, and he's got a big time chance of making the Olympic team in the 10,000.
Oh my, he just ran like 27:20 something. That was like a minute faster than I ever ran a 10K yet. He's talk about good genetics on that kid, huh? Barney.
I guess so. I know. Well, we like to brag about our Minnesotans, but we got to brag about this guy. Okay? This guy is a 6-time world record holder. Dick, I said six time.
When I saw, I won't mention his name, his credentials, I thought, 6-time world record. I mean, having one world record. Heck, having a grandma's record was a big deal for me. I can't imagine a world record.
I know. Well, and then get this. He's a father of 3. Like that might be, I should have maybe said that beforehand because he's busy. He also is a husband. He works at a brewing company called Athletic Brewing. He's also at a running store. And he's a double amputee. He has prosthetics below the knee on both legs. So this guy's been running for 5 years and he's set 6 world records. So we want to welcome Brian Reynolds to our show. Brian, welcome.
Thanks for having me, guys.
Hi, Brian. To have any world record, let alone 5, 6, whatever it is, but then only been running for 5 years. That's like even more topping on top of the ice cream.
I found running late in life.
Yeah, Brian, I was saying that we've been tooting a lot of Minnesotan horn here. You're coming from Illinois, so not too far, right? Is that where you're from, Illinois?
No, New Jersey.
How did I get Illinois out of that?
Hey, Carrie, you were from Minnesota, Illinois, New Jersey. They're all east of us.
Oh, let me just say, I've been traveling a little bit lately. I've been, kind of riding on no sleep. And, when you're just kind of friends like we all are, we've never met, but now Butch Reynolds is a 400-meter specialist from back in the day. I'm telling you, I've been going from track to roads. I got everything screwing up. But Brian, we are so excited to have you. Can you tell that Dick and I are a little crazy?
Yeah, but it's
That's
awesome.
Good from where we were born and raised here in Minnesota.
That's right. Well, anyway, Brian, welcome to Minnesota. We know this is your first time running Grandma's, and we are thrilled to have you. Like, you're now part of the family. After you run a Grandma's Marathon, you will forever be a part of the Minnesota running community, and we're just excited to have you. So kind of talk us through your history. Well, you want to hear your story. Everyone has a story, and it's so fun to hear that you are excelling in something, and I've read a lot about you, that you really didn't know you wanted to do. For a long time, you didn't share that you had prosthetics on your legs. You were nervous to show people. And this has been a long time in your life. You were really little when this all happened.
Yeah, I was when I was 4, I contracted meningococcemia, which is a pretty rare and deadly form of meningitis. The result for me was losing 2 legs. As far as meningococcemia patients go, I was lucky. It's usually all 4 limbs if you survive at all. So I guess I can consider myself fairly lucky in life. Growing up, I was active, but definitely not into running. Through high school and college, I was a gym rat, all about the bench press and deadlift. And I actually competed in powerlifting for a few years as well. So I spent basically the first 25 plus years of my life determined not to go any further than I had to walk at all. So it still seems kind of dreamlike that I'm running now.
Yeah.
Brian, I got to ask you, you said you were a power lifter and whatnot. So when we see you on Grandma's Marathon Day and you take off your warm-ups and you got your singlet on, are we going to be looking at the Incredible Hulk here or what?
Not so much anymore. I've run off almost all of that heavier muscle weight at this point. But used to be pretty big back in my early 20s. I was benching 300 pounds.
Holy cow!
Deadlifting about 485. So I was a lot bigger then than I am now.
Jeepers.
Maybe you should have taken on Butch Reynolds, who ran like a, I don't know, 45-second quarter. You said you've run about 52 seconds for the quarter when we were chatting before. You still are very fast, but you like the long distances, half marathons, marathons. But I read that it was on the treadmill where you ran a sub 450 mile, and that's kind of where your running bug, took off. Like your friends are like, dude, you can run.
Yeah, we were just all fooling around at the gym one day, and I was like, who can run the fastest mile? I was like, I'll try. And
you did.
Yeah, I think it was 4:48.
And Brian,
I haven't run a mile since.
No, just 26 of them instead. But so Brian, so what is your personal best in the marathon then?
I've run 3:03 twice now.
Oh, so you're so close. Okay, so breaking 3, that's got to be in the back of your mind.
Yeah, I'm doing the half out in Grandma's.
Oh, the half at Grandma's?
Yeah.
So what's the goal? 117 is your half marathon PR.
Yeah, which I've had amazing training over the last 14 months. But I did have to take like a 5-week break just only a month ago for a cranky hip and quad. So we will see how much that set me back. I've been back up to my normal mileage the past 3 weeks and feeling good. So hopefully not a major setback, but.
And Brian, what kind of mileage a week do you run?
I'm running about 60 right now.
Wow.
Which my peak mileage ever consistently was about mid 70s, but just with the prosthetics, I have trouble maintaining mileage. So I usually compensate by adding in biking and running. So I end up with pretty high volume weeks throughout different types of cardio activities.
When you say you have trouble with your prosthetics, is that your like some skin issues? Is it just your body doesn't, handle running on them that well? What is it?
I guess it's a few things compounded. Is I definitely do get some skin breakdown when I'm consistently running like 70 plus miles. But I have less muscle groups, so my hips are much more prone to overuse, just because they're doing all of the stuff that a calf muscle and an ankle would normally do. So they compensate for it. Like my hips are huge because of it. Like my waist size is like a 30, but I have to get like 32 size pants to fit my hips in them. But it definitely leads to a little bit of overuse problems there, which is what I had going on just a few weeks ago. Got a little bit excited in my training and running and just did a little bit too much.
So Brian, is like how we get done with half marathons or marathons, and the next morning you're pretty sore throughout your body. But so is it typically the day after a half marathon or a marathon? Is it your hips that are the sorest part of your whole body?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, always my hips, and usually my legs are like a little bit swollen from just the intense pounding of that type of race. So I would say it takes me like a little bit longer to bounce back after longer races than it would take most runners.
Sure. Understandable.
Brian, why Grandma's? Why did you choose to come to Duluth?
Well, I was actually supposed to come last year, and it was canceled. So I've worked with a company called Lightspeed, which is right out of Duluth. And they're the ones that got me interested in it. Besides that, I've heard for years how amazing the course and the race and the people and the entire experience is. So it's been on my mind for at least the last 3 years, but I'm just happy that it's all coming together this year so I can get out there.
This sport has given us all like so much joy, and I know that it has given you a lot of confidence and pride in who you are and not hiding who you are. I asked Dakotah why she ran. Why do you run? And it's only been 5 years. So it feels fresh and it feels like still new, at least to me, thinking of you going out there for all these new races that you've never run.
Yeah, it both seems like a lifetime and like I've been doing it a week. It's hard to realize the journey that running's taken me on at this point. It's definitely like a very freeing experience for me. Coming from barely moving for, the first 25 years of my life. Yeah, I was active, but I feel like running has taken me places I would never have gone before. Whether it's in running or hiking, it's taken me to places I literally would never have seen.
And Brian, you've got to be such an inspiration to so many people. I mean, honestly, with able-bodied people and, you're struggling out there in the marathon and all they'd have to do is watch this, see you at the race or something and say, man, if Brian can be out here doing this, I can surely be out here doing it. I mean, you are, and I'm sure you've been told this many times, but like I don't know who you are. I've never met you other than seeing you for the first time, but I'm inspired by what you've done and get out there and, you've got a smile on your face. You can see you got enthusiasm for life and for sport, and you haven't taken something that terribly happened to you and just kind of wallowed in sorrow. You've gone on and said, let's push forward, which is very inspiring.
Thank you very much. I just feel like you have to keep going with life, and the only limitations you set is your own. So I didn't think that way for the beginning part of my life. I thought I'm an amputee. I'm not going to be a runner or a hiker or anything else, but changing that mindset has changed my life.
Brian, you're a 6-time world record holder. I'd say you're doing something right. And even Dick, you've been through a lot too. And you share that with the world and you talk about your perseverance in life. And, everyone has their story. Everyone, whether you have an impairment or you have a different impairment, it's just, we all have our own impairments in life. So I just think it's awesome. What you're doing is great. We wish you the best of luck, Brian. You are going to have so much fun in Duluth. But before we go, we have to ask a fan question. Okay. So what do you typically do? You're not always setting world records, but if you want to do one again in Duluth, that's fine with us. We'd love it. But what do you do to celebrate after races?
It's a good question. My last few big races, I was in grad school, so I immediately went and did homework and papers. I don't think I've run a marathon since I graduated from my master's program. So usually I just go out with the family.
Yeah. Well, Brian, let me tell you, they've got a great after party at Grandma's, so you can let her hang loose on Saturday night.
I've heard that there is an amazing brunch place in Duluth.
Mm-hmm. There's a lot of really good places. Also, it's super fun to jump in Lake Superior.
Is it?
It's freezing, but you will love it. It just cleanses the body and it's beautiful and you're going to have a blast. We can't wait to see you race.
It probably help your hips recover quicker too, that cold water.
That's true.
All right, Brian.
Well, good luck, Brian.
Safe travels, happy running. Thank you.
Thank you guys so much for having me. I appreciate it.
Well, Dick, can you imagine what Brian goes through every day when he's training 60 miles a week? He also does a lot of cross training, but 6 world records on those prosthetics. Amazing.
6 world records. And Carrie, I know as runners, able-bodied runners, running shoes are a little spendy, but I can only imagine what his prosthetics must cost to replace those blades. How much?
$30K.
Holy cow.
And that's out of pocket because they are not covered by health insurance when they're used for sport.
Wow. Mm-hmm. I thought $150 for a pair of running shoes was expensive.
I know. But what a, aspirational person. We need to look up to him and all the runners and, all the athletes that are there. But someone that can help all of us is our next guest. We have Lisa Basfield here, and she is someone that has been to Duluth. She's run the half. She's run the full. She sponsored the race in 2019 with her CBD oil company called Nature's Gem CBD. And we're just excited to have you, Lisa. Thanks for coming on the show.
It's my pleasure. Always great to be here. Always loving grandmas.
I know, right? Who doesn't love it there? I mean, every time we drive in and we go over the bridges and we see, you know, Canal Park, I mean, my heart starts to race. I'm sure Dick has won the race before, and I'm sure he really gets fired up.
I do. Carrie, I still, you know, it was 40 years ago when I was fortunate to win my first grandmas, and I've been back every year since. And I just get excited. You know, I come in from the West, from Bemidji, and when you're coming into town and all of a sudden you come over a little rise and you look out and see that big pond and downtown, and I just get excited as all heck.
Lisa, when did you start running there?
A long time ago. It was a long time ago. It was probably like 30 years ago. And honestly, I started running because I wanted to know what it would be like to get really fit. So I said, I'll run a marathon. And I'll never forget my friends saying, you what? And I'm like, I signed up for grandmas. And they're like, but you don't even run races. Yeah, go big. And,
exactly.
And my brothers were up in Duluth. I think my brother ran like the 7th Duluth marathon. So they all went to school there, and I call Duluth like the hidden gem of Minnesota. So, you know, it's just natural, and it's a beautiful course. It's just the whole atmosphere is great. So I've been running for a long time.
Yeah.
Drats, I just aged
Well, it's funny that you
myself.
say it's the hidden gem, and your CBD company is Nature's Gem.
The other hidden
Talk about
gem,
that.
Right? Good.
I love it. Talk about your company.
Sure. So I'll give you guys a little history on me. So I'm from Minnesota originally, and I had a CPA practice. So I was not doing this, obviously. And I had my own company, and I just started not to feel well. And so little by little, my body started to shut down. And nobody knew what was going on, you know, with the accounting. I did an audit of my health. And so I kept a list of, you know, I was getting sick. I was throwing up. I was achy. I was memory loss, losing my balance. And because luckily we are in Minnesota, I went to the Mayo Clinic, and they ran me through a battery of tests. Nothing was showing up. And then a really perceptive doctor in the GI unit said, I'm going to refer you to the fibromyalgia clinic. So by now I have dropped to 115 pounds. I have no cognitive functions. I can't be a mom. I can't do my job. I was an up and comer in the profession, and was on the national board. I was speaking to our soldiers that were being deployed to Afghanistan. Couldn't do any of that. So I have fibromyalgia, and they diagnosed me, and then they stuck me on 3 narcotics for 9 years. And I pretty much lost me. I had to sell my company, and I'll roll the story fast. My daughter graduated from Benilde St. Margaret. She got into a college, and then from there she went and got a postback at the National Institutes of Health as a researcher. So we dug into CBD, and the research was there. It was under the marijuana plant, but I wanted that little cannabinoid called CBD. And we learned about it. I probably spent 200 hours, and then I started to try it. And I'll tell you guys, I didn't think it was going to work. I thought it was another hokum thing that somebody's telling me to do. And I kept a log my whole health journey, and little by little, I started to get better. My pain went from level 10 to 9 to 8 to 7. I kept waiting for the shoe to drop. Rolling forward, it helped me, and it's one piece of the whole. But for somebody with fibromyalgia or chronic illness, I need that product to be consistent. You can't change stuff up in my world or I get sick. So I called manufacturers. They couldn't guarantee me the same farms. So in 2018, even before it was legal federally, I had my brain back, and I said, okay, let's start another company. That's what I do. And that's how I started Nature's Gem, was to really help other people who are dealing with issues, health and wellness, especially chronic illness. It's a very lonely road. It's a very sad road. There's some dark times for us. And I wanted to be their health and wellness advocate, to go, don't give up, because we do. I never thought if somebody said you would run again, I would say no. In 2018, I was going to sell both my bikes. I didn't, thank God. And now I am running again, not fast, but I eat right. I exercise. I'm a certified Pilates instructor. And so I became part of Grandma's Marathon because in 2019, when it turned legal, everybody thought they should sell CBD. And that made me mad because you're putting it into people's bodies. And so I thought, wow, here comes this product on the market nobody knows about. How do we get in front of people? We did boots on the ground, and Grandma's Marathon was my very first marathon we sponsored because it was my race, and I knew athletes that they know their body. So who is going to listen more than an athlete? And there are things that they should be aware of. So that's how I started Nature's Gem.
That's awesome. You know, when you said you were a certified Pilates instructor too, I was like, what doesn't this woman do?
You know, honestly, it's a certified Pilates instructor. You know, as I mentioned, one thing that's really important is I always say it's one piece of the whole. So it is not going to cure. You know, I sit on the board for the Randy Shaver Cancer Research Fund, and I've been sitting on that board for 15 years. You ever want to boil my blood, just tell me it's going to cure cancer? I'm like, let's really talk about this. Let's talk about what it's going to do in the body. Let's talk about how it's going to help you. But if you don't change your diet, if you don't exercise, if you don't manage your stress, if I don't do any of that, I'm going to get sick again. And I can take CBD till I'm blue in the face. So that's, you know, when I became the certified Pilates instructor, I'm comprehensive and I really started to know the body very well.
Yeah. So as athletes, you know, Dick didn't have CBD oil. I didn't have CBD oil. We have it now.
Yep.
Orally, you can take it and you can use it topically. If you can just give us a quick little rundown on how the athletes can use it and also how they can find it from your company.
Sure, no problem. So if you're going to take CBD and you're an athlete, one of the big things you need to know is an athlete, if you are an elite athlete, and we've got a team coming up that's elite out of Nature's Gem, you cannot take any CBD that contains any other cannabinoids besides CBD. So that's really important because if you pee in a cup, you're going to test positive. Game over. And so we have 0 THC. How you're going to use it for the race is pre-race. Maybe you have that anxiety, those jitters. I'm like, take a gummy or take some oil before your race. Now I have racers that will take it on the course. So we'll be bringing up packs in 5-packs that you can buy, take on the course, so that your whole goal is to now try to stay ahead of inflammation. So then we'll say, hey, maybe at mile 5, take a gummy. Maybe mile 11, take a gummy. We all know at mile 20, I'm like, you might need 2. You know, and then after the race too, you know, you've got the topical. So anytime we can get something into that muscle to help that muscle start to relax if you're cramping, and we want to get that in there, we'll also have magnesium oil that we blend in with our topical. Again, it's to get that muscle to release. And then we will also be at that health and wellness recovery tent. So we will be stretching you out. That's the Pilates in me. We always have to go, in my world, the next step to go, yeah, but what else can we do? And let me explain why you're going to want to do it this way. And so that's how you use the product. And, you know, we're online. We've been online. I've got a store down in Florida on Longboat Key. So there's a lot of Minnesotans that come down here, stop by my store. You get a really good massage and all sorts of stuff. But that's how runners can really benefit about using CBD. And, you know, like I said, our product, are anti-doping compliant. So I was at US Marathon Trials. And I had elite runners, and they're taking our max oil before they're running. If you were there, you know what you were announcing, weren't you, Carrie?
I was. I saw you down there.
So that was like you know, oh my God, crazy. And so, you know, they finished the line, and I'll never forget Anita Perez said, I need the balm on my legs. And we're like, okay.
Yeah. Well, I'm excited for all the athletes. I know, Dick, you are too, to be able to go and learn from you, for one, be safe.
Yes.
First and foremost, I should say, then learn from you, but then also be able to feel better and perform better if they can by staying healthy and knowing what they're putting into their bodies. That's the big thing.
And recover faster. We all know that, you know, there's, you look at that 3-inch curb that when you get done, you're like, oh, I got to go over that. And I'm like, you got to help that recovery, and you got to help that whole body get better. One of the big things that I do want to quick say is if you are on medicated blood thinners, you do not take CBD internally ever. You talk with your doctor, because CBD can thin the blood. And that is the number one reason I open my store on Longboat Key, is I see people handing out CBD, and I'm fine with that, but you better ask that big question, are you on blood thinners? So that's one of the big takeaways out of this. And for runners, I've had people at the starting line. They're like, I took 3 gummies before I started. I've had people that I had a 70-year-old take our oil and run Chicago Marathon, finished it. Awesome. God love it. I got great pictures, great stories. So stop by our booth. That's our job, is to educate and help you out.
Well, Dick and I are going to come over for sure.
Yeah. I'm interested in that stuff. That's cool.
I give great foot massages. I'm known for that. Totally known for foot massages.
Sign us up. And good luck to you. Go get them, Lisa.
Absolutely. And we'll see you guys in a few weeks.
Oh my gosh, Dick, don't you kind of wish that you had that CBD oil back in the day? Just to make sure your muscles feel good and everything else?
I tell you, it could really help. And it really, I'm interested in talking to her more about it, because I know around Bemidji, I see these CBD stores all over the place. And it's like, I don't really know what it is or anything like that, but it sounds pretty interesting.
And I know you're kind of like me. Like when I was low in iron, I ate more meat, or I ate more spinach, or whatever it was. Right. I was always nervous about drug testing and make sure I didn't take the wrong cold medicine or any of that. So I just never took anything. And
me too.
That's just how we are. Like, she was talking about getting drug tested for these athletes. We have to make sure that we're safe and that you're taking the proper things. But she seems to really have that, she's honed in on that.
Yeah, really. She really has. I mean, she's, it sounds like the product that she has produced, it's like, it doesn't get any better than that.
Yeah, I've never tried it. So I'm going to try it when I'm at grandma's.
There you go.
We'll see. So, I've had kids trying to get in on this conversation. I have 3 little ones running around. You had 2 dogs that got in on the conversation.
That's right. Well, we have a Lake Bemidji bed and breakfast here in Bemidji, and some guests are checking in, and we have a couple of dogs, and the dogs like to greet the guests, and they were happy. There was that happy bark.
They say Ruby's her mother's daughter. That's my oldest. Your dogs are their owner's dog.
For sure.
Whatever.
Whatever it is.
But they like to talk.
Yeah, our kids are all grown, but they're like our kids now,
Yeah, and Crazy. They like to talk like their owners. You and Jill like to talk.
Right.
Well, I have so enjoyed talking with you, and I've loved hearing from Tyler and Dakotah and Brian and Lisa, and they're all going to be up in Duluth, so everyone can try and find them as well. But what a great community. What an awesome race we have with the Grandma's Marathon, the Garry Bjorklund Half Marathon, the 5K, all these fun events, and I just can't wait to be back there in person with you, Dick.
Carrie, I'm right back at you, man. It's I so missed Duluth last year. It's something. It's really one of the events that I look so forward to every year, and it was a big disappointment last year that none of us could make it there. But man, we're fired up for this year, and it's just it's right around the corner.
Yep. Well, good luck, all you athletes, all you spectators, everyone that's coming. But we can't do the Dick and Carrie show without your song. So will you lead us through your famous
I got a guitar
song?
in my hand. You might not be able to see it, but this is a song I wrote a number of years ago. It's called Grandma's Marathon. I don't sing it enough, so I got to look at my notes that I wrote down on the song. So here we go. Grandma's Marathon in Duluth, Minnesota, north of Minneapolis, south of the Canadian border. Lots and lots of people all out to cheer. Some eating their breakfast, some drinking their beer. Duluth, Minnesota, it's a place to be. Down by the lakefront, seems like the sea. But up on that hilltop, it can be 90 degrees. Here at the harbor, it's as cool as it can be. You start near 2 harbors, run along, get your gummy. Grandma Marathon, yeah, sure, you bet you there. It sure is a beauty. You cross a few rivers, you run through the pines. Grandma's Marathon makes you feel so alive. Duluth, Minnesota, It's a place to be. Down by the lakefront, seems like the sea. But up on that hilltop, it can be 90 degrees. Here at the harbor, it's as cool as it can be. There's not many cities that could put on such an event with thousands of runners and those big top tents. A pasta dinner from 11 to 9, but in Duluth, Minnesota, with its lakes and its pines. Duluth, Minnesota, it's a place to be. Down by the lakefront, seems like the sea. Up on that hilltop, it can be 90 degrees. Here at the harbor, it's as cool as it can be. I hope you come back. I'm telling you the truth. To this city on the water, this great town of Duluth. The people so friendly. The town, it's a blast. Whether you come in first place or if you finish dead last. Duluth, Minnesota, it's a place to be. Down by that lakefront, it seems like the sea. Up on that hilltop, it can be 90 degrees. Here on the harbor, it's as cool as it can be. Y'all come back now, you hear? Good luck, everybody.
I love it, Dick.
Good times.
Good luck, everybody. Have fun. Thanks for joining us at the Dick and Carrie Show.